All right, welcome back to Webz Insider. This week, Daniel's joined me, one of our top account executives. And this week with Daniel, I sort of wanted to go over the top 5 questions that people are concerned about when they're looking for a data collection vendor, whether it's news, blogs, discussions, etc. And I think one of the top things that constantly come up is this concept of real-time data. Everyone wants real-time data. They want the news, the data as soon as it comes out in their system. Daniel, can you explain to us why real-time data in data collection is a bogus term?
So when it comes to real-time data, the only way that it's possible, of course, is if the sources that you're interested in are pushing you the content as soon as it's published. So companies that are actually really interested in consuming large amounts of data at scale, having sources push you data is not really feasible. So what we found actually is that what we refer to as an adaptive crawling technique is the most effective way. And by doing that, we increase or decrease our crawling frequency during the course of a 24-hour period, depending on when content is being published. So naturally, when content is being published during, let's say, if it's a news site and it's between, 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. So we're going to increase our crawling frequency then to make sure that there is, the best amount of response time that you could ask for.
All right, the next top questions that we get is regarding the sources of the data themselves. So let's say, the use case is a financial use case, and I want a lot of different sources. What's the best way to approach this? Should I come to you with a list of all the different sources that I want you to collect from?
So lists are always a great place to start because it actually helps us just as much as it helps the customer. It helps us in terms of knowing the types of sources that they're interested in so that we can, of course, mention and complement the different sources that we already have in our coverage. We also have the option to add sources. There's many vendors out there that they're limited to 50,000 or 20,000 different sources. I would say in our news vertical alone, we have over 200,000 top level domains, and that number is actually growing every day. And so one of the benefits of when I'm speaking with companies and they're providing a list, we have certain ways of actually even automatically adding certain domains to our coverage. And that helps kind of, already to also get an evaluation or trial process going. And I think that companies really do appreciate something like that, especially they feel like they have a partner in making sure that, that's ready to deliver according to their needs.
So another important aspect that we hear a lot about is the quality of the data, i.e. getting noise-free data. So I don't know, just like an example of how, you deal with getting and providing noise-free data would be, let's say, duplicates. So how do you deal with duplicates when you're providing the data?
So I think, noise-free data it's something that comes up often, and it's something that we actually have a team that's always kind of working and assisting our customers and making sure that they're able to minimize that noise. But one of the questions that I do get asked a lot does refer to duplicates, how we're handling duplicates. How does Webz define a duplicate? And the way that we're defining a duplicate is that the URL of a particular post has to be identical also to the content that you're seeing in that post. So within our system, you won't see two identical URLs with the same exact content. That is how we would define a duplicate, and we have mechanisms in place to ensure that doesn't happen. We do have customers that are, of course, in the brand monitoring sphere, and they're very interested in knowing the different places that their customers are being mentioned. And for that purpose, it oftentimes comes up where there are certain news sites that are republishing articles from other sites.
Right.
And our customers that are in the brand monitoring industry absolutely appreciate that we have those different sites, and how some companies define those as duplicates. Other companies appreciate that we have that type of coverage.
Sure. So I understand that a lot of providers don't provide full text articles. Can you tell us what the benefit of a full text article in data consumption is?
Yeah, so that's correct. There are a number of providers that are not providing the full text. When it comes to having the full text available to you, it actually allows companies to be able to do much more efficient natural language processing, or NLP. So whether that's for sentiment analysis on, could be maybe companies, individuals, even locations, depending on, of course, the company that's interested in the data. And so by having that larger or full text option, things are just able to run in a much more efficient manner, and even more accurately when you have more text. So with Webz, that's why we're offering the full text within whether it's a news article or a blog or whatever it might be.
So another thing that comes up a lot is the two methods of push versus pull when receiving the data. Can you maybe explain to us what the difference between the two methods are?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to a push, there are companies that are defining what they, whether it's certain keywords, whether it's certain sources that their data provider is then pushing to them, whether it's at certain intervals or a certain volume of data, and there's a limitation there of not getting information, whether it's news sources or whether it's oftentimes companies are speaking to me about this, and they say they don't know what they don't know. So the advantage of a pull option, which is the other delivery method, is that companies are able to configure their own queries, put in their own keywords, update their queries. There's a little bit more flexibility, and then of course they can explore in a much more easier way different sources or maybe even related keywords that they'd want to add into their query. And they also can have a little bit more control as to the frequency with which they're running those queries. So at Webz, we actually prefer the second option, the pull option, when it comes to our API delivery method. And in addition to that, as I had mentioned before in a previous question, our customer success managers are there to help to make sure that our customers are aware of different sources we have available, and to make sure that they can continue to optimize those queries to return the most relevant results.